Spoilers for the bold and the beautiful hint at an emotional twist that will shatter expectations, changing the lives of everyone in the Spencer family and beyond. So far, all signs point to Liam Spencer as the tragic victim facing a terminal diagnosis of an inoperable brain tumor. But what if it isn't Liam who is truly sick, but another beloved member of the Spencer family? What if, amid the chaos and confusion, the real tragedy is lurking beneath the emotional turmoil engulfing the family? Recent developments surrounding Bill Spencer have sparked curiosity and concern among family members and close friends. Bill, who thrived on power, confidence, and an unwaveringly ruthless approach to both business and personal relationships, has been exhibiting increasingly unusual behavior. Friends and family noticed Bill's sudden withdrawal from Spencer Publications, the empire he loved and which he had once ruled without hesitation. Even more worrying, there were rare moments of Bill's weakness, emotional outbursts, moments of despair, and even scenes of the usually stoic billionaire shedding tears in solitude. Of course, these unusual behaviors worried those around him, prompting loved ones to visit and try to understand and comfort him. Yet Bill remained on guard, hiding the deep pain he carried within. Fans, accustomed to Bill's unwavering ostentation, watched anxiously, wondering what's really going on with Dollar Bill, longing for the return of the powerful, confident Spencer father they had come to love or sometimes despise, but always admire. Things take a serious turn when Finn, always alert and compassionate, unexpectedly encounters Bill during a routine shift at the hospital. At first, Finn suspects nothing too out of the ordinary. However, as the conversation progresses, it becomes clear that something is very wrong. Bill seems more distracted than usual, seemingly lost in thought and avoiding his true intentions. He offers a weak explanation, claiming that he was just visiting an old business associate. This explanation seems strange to Finn, as Bill has never been the type to indulge in friendly visits or meaningless small talk, especially with casual business friends. Bill Spencer usually keeps a tight circle: family, romantic partners, and only those who are directly useful to his personal and professional ambitions. It is even more strange when Bill insists on the excuse that he was just visiting a colleague, an obvious excuse that does little to hide his underlying pain. Finn senses that there is something deeper behind Bill's erratic demeanor. Complicating matters is Bill's recent heated confrontation with Liam, who has been emotionally overwhelmed by what he believes to be his own grim prognosis. Bill's sudden harshness and cruelty toward Liam, even by his standards, seems particularly out of character, putting the family members who witnessed the disturbing exchange on guard. While Liam's crisis unfolds in the emergency room, where he desperately begs Steffi Forrester to keep his condition a secret from those he loves, the real mystery quietly unfolds in another part of the hospital, where Bill's condition is steadily deteriorating. Liam has no idea that his father's health is rapidly deteriorating, a fact that Bill has carefully kept hidden from everyone around him. The shocking revelation awaits. Bill Spencer, not Liam, is the one facing the devastating, life-threatening diagnosis. The confusion begins to make sense when we realize that the medical records have been accidentally mixed up. In an unfortunate administrative error, Bill's MRI scans, which clearly show the presence of a malignant and inoperable brain tumor, have been mistaken for Liam's. Liam's MRI scans, which showed no signs of any tumors or serious conditions, inadvertently created a false sense of hopelessness for him and his loved ones. This heartbreaking confusion deeply affected the family, who were slowly beginning to accept Liam's supposedly inevitable fate, unaware that the real victim of this devastating diagnosis was Bill. The dramatic twist could not have come at a more emotional time. As Liam mentally and emotionally prepared for a future he believed would soon be over, Bill quietly battled his hidden medical condition alone. He maintained a strong exterior, pretending to focus on his business interests while internally dealing with fear, grief, and a growing loss of control over his own mind and body. His strange behavior, avoiding the office, having unusual emotional outbursts, and being overly confrontational, was directly linked to his growing mental deterioration. The tumor, which was silently pressing on key areas of his brain, manifested itself in mood swings, emotional instability, and a loss of his usual confident demeanor. As family tensions escalated amid Liam's awareness of his illness, Bill's secretive state worsened. It was only a matter of time before Bill's facade collapsed, unable to hide the severity of his symptoms. Finally, Finn, deeply suspicious and unable to ignore the anomalies in Bill's behavior, investigated further. As Finn dug into hospital records and conducted his own medical investigation, he uncovered a disastrous mistake. The revelation that Bill, not Liam, is terminally ill leaves Finn reeling, and he must now grapple with the moral dilemma of revealing the truth to his family. He knows that the devastating news will simultaneously bring Liam great relief and a devastating blow to everyone who cares about Bill. The impact of the revelation is immediate and profound. Liam, previously resigned to his grim fate, is suddenly confronted with the reality that he is perfectly healthy and capable of living a long, full life. However, his joy is immediately overshadowed by the heartbreaking news about his father. Bill's children, Liam and Wyatt, and his closest confidants, are thrown into emotional turmoil, trying to reconcile this shocking reversal. Bill, initially determined to face his grim diagnosis alone, finally admits that his condition can no longer be hidden. Forced to confront his family publicly, Bill reveals the truth, sending shockwaves of grief and disbelief throughout the Spencer household. For Liam, this change brings a complex mix of relief, guilt, and deep sadness. He must now move from accepting his own mortality to supporting his father in a battle that is nearing its end. The father-son relationship, already strained by recent conflicts, takes on a profound new dimension. Liam, understanding the gravity of the situation, quickly shifts from resentment to compassion, standing by his father in his final months. Ironically, this devastating situation heals and deepens their relationship, bringing sweet closure and reconciliation. Bill's battle with his terminal diagnosis is emotional and deeply affecting. Forced to accept his impending death, Bill begins to address past mistakes, mend broken relationships, and confront his regrets. Viewers witness a more humble, gentle Bill, embracing his vulnerability as he seeks forgiveness from those he has hurt over the years, including Liam, Katie, Brooke, and others who have suffered through his cruel actions. Bill's illness forces him to sort things out and make peace with his loved ones, illustrating a deeper humanity beneath the strong exterior he once so tenaciously maintained. Meanwhile, Liam, now healthy but emotionally traumatized by the whirlwind of events, struggles with survivor's guilt. His ordeal has profoundly reshaped his perspective on life, love, and family. With newfound clarity from his experience, Liam reevaluates his relationships, especially with Hope and Steffi, determined to avoid the mistakes of the past and move toward an emotionally honest and deep future. As Bill's condition worsened, the Spencer family rallied together, savoring every precious moment with their father. Ultimately, Bill's passing became an incredibly emotional event, filled with reflection, emotional catharsis, and love and forgiveness. Bill's death profoundly changed the dynamic of the show, reshaping the future for Liam, Wyatt, Katie, and the rest of his loved ones. The Spencer family, forever changed by this heartbreaking experience, learned profound lessons about resilience, forgiveness, and the unbreakable bond of family love. Ultimately, The unexpected twist between Liam and Bill's fates delivered one of the most memorable and moving storylines in recent Bold and the Beautiful history, forever changing the Spencer family and leaving viewers moved, amazed, and deeply engaged. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers hint that Hope Logan finds herself in emotional turmoil, taking refuge at her mother's home as she tries to process the chaos engulfing her personal and professional life. At the heart of her distress lies a profound sense of betrayal. Carter Walton, the man she once trusted implicitly, recently returned control of Forrester Creations back to its rightful owners, the Forresters, without consulting or involving her. Although Carter's decision was morally sound and honorable, Hope struggles with feelings of abandonment, resentment, and a lingering sense of injustice. After all, the initial conspiracy to seize control of Forrester Creations had been Carter's brainchild, and his sudden shift to virtue leaves her feeling blindsided. Despite this emotional upheaval, Carter remains deeply in love with Hope, and he desperately wants to repair their fractured relationship. After briefly rekindling his complicated entanglement with Daphne through an impulsive kiss, Carter realizes that his heart belongs solely to Hope. Driven by an urgent desire to set things right, Carter decides to confront his feelings head-on. In a moment charged with tension and vulnerability, Carter unexpectedly arrives on Hope's doorstep, determined to lay bare his true feelings. Standing face-to-face with Hope, he openly confesses that he misses her deeply and still loves her more intensely than ever. Hope is initially taken aback by Carter's sudden appearance and heartfelt confession. Although deeply wounded by his perceived betrayal, she also acknowledges that, despite recent events, Carter remains the only man she has genuinely trusted in recent memory. Their conversation reveals the complicated web of feelings that still bind them. Hope wrestles internally, torn between her hurt pride and lingering love. She challenges Carter, questioning why he did not include her in the decision-making process about Forrester Creations, asserting her need for loyalty and trust in a relationship. Carter, remorseful yet steadfast, insists that his choice was ultimately made to protect them both from further fallout. The emotional intensity of their exchange underscores a stark truth. Their bond, though damaged, remains powerful and difficult to sever completely. As they stand in the doorway, emotions raw, Carter continues to plead his case. He acknowledges the hurt he caused Hope, but reaffirms his unwavering belief that what he did was the only morally right choice, even though it risked their love. Hope, still conflicted, admits reluctantly that her anger stems mostly from feeling excluded and sidelined. She reveals, vulnerably, how deeply she wished he would have involved her or at least warned her before acting alone. Carter passionately assures Hope that his intentions were never to hurt or alienate her, but rather to shield her from further damage. Their conversation slowly opens the door for reconciliation, as Hope begins to reconsider whether their relationship might yet survive this tumultuous chapter. Meanwhile, elsewhere in Los Angeles, another drama unfolds involving Hope's father, Deacon Sharp. Deacon's romance with Sheila Carter, once intensely passionate, seems to be cooling. The shift is primarily due to Deacon's preoccupation with Hope's emotional state. Deacon, always protective of his daughter, can't stop worrying about her romantic troubles, particularly her strained relationship with Carter. His constant talk of Hope's difficulties irritates Sheila, who finds herself rolling her eyes at Deacon's endless paternal concerns. Sheila has never been particularly fond of the Logan family, viewing their frequent dramas as tiresome distractions. In a particularly revealing conversation, Deacon openly shares his belief that Liam Spencer is ultimately the right man for Hope. Despite his sometimes flawed judgment, Deacon deeply desires happiness and stability for his daughter, believing Liam represents the safe and reliable choice she desperately needs. Deacon's insistence surprises Sheila, especially considering her personal ambitions and manipulations in matters of the heart. Sheila briefly entertains the thought of interfering in Hope's romantic affairs, perhaps even engineering a match between Hope and Finn, her biological son. But Sheila quickly dismisses the idea, realizing that her attention and energy are already fully occupied by her ongoing efforts to control her son Finn's romantic choices and maintain influence over her granddaughter's future. Still, Sheila can't help but feel somewhat amused and annoyed by Deacon's preoccupation with his daughter's love life. As Deacon continues lamenting the downfall of Hope's relationship with Carter, Sheila's patience wears thin, causing subtle tension to simmer beneath the surface of their relationship. Sheila's disregard for the Logans becomes increasingly obvious, and her irritation with Deacon's constant references to Liam reveals cracks forming between them. Despite Sheila's lack of genuine care for Hope's struggles, Deacon's steadfast focus on his daughter's emotional well-being inadvertently draws Sheila's resentment, further complicating their already fragile romance. Back at Brooke's house, Hope continues her painful introspection, considering Carter's heartfelt plea. Memories of happier times flood her mind, recalling Carter's steadfast presence through previous crises. She admits privately that her feelings of betrayal come mostly from her disappointment that Carter had not chosen to remain complicit in their original scheme. But deep down, Hope also knows that Carter's integrity and honesty were among the qualities she fell in love with in the first place. As their conversation moves forward, Hope finally confesses to Carter that despite everything, he remains the only person she truly trusts. Her admission deeply moves Carter, giving him renewed hope that reconciliation might still be possible. Yet, despite her lingering affection for Carter, Hope remains uncertain. Her pride and anger continue to battle against the emotional pull she feels toward him. She finds herself trapped in indecision, wondering if she can truly forgive Carter's unilateral actions and move forward together, or if their romance has already suffered irreparable damage. Carter senses her hesitation and, rather than pressuring her further, gently reassures Hope that he will give her the time she needs. His patience and understanding touch Hope deeply, reminding her why she fell in love with him in the first place. Elsewhere, Deacon's fixation on Liam's supposed suitability for Hope grows more intense, gradually pushing Sheila to her limits. Sheila, increasingly irritated by Deacon's emotional preoccupation with Hope's love life, finally confronts him openly. Sheila demands to know why Deacon continues obsessing over Hope's choices, bluntly reminding him that Hope is an adult capable of making her own decisions. Deacon insists, passionately and stubbornly, that Hope's happiness is paramount to him. The heated argument that ensues reveals deep fractures in Sheila and Deacon's relationship, raising questions about their future together. As tensions rise on multiple fronts, the dynamics within these interconnected families shift rapidly. Hope faces a crucial decision regarding her future with Carter, while simultaneously feeling caught between her father's protective but intrusive influence and Sheila's dismissive hostility. Sheila, meanwhile, must decide whether Deacon's preoccupation with Hope's life is tolerable or if she must sever ties altogether to maintain her own ambitions. Deacon, on the other hand, must navigate his relationship with Sheila carefully, aware that his fixation on Hope's love life might cost him dearly. Ultimately, the emotional turbulence that grips these families promises further complications and dramatic consequences. Hope's choice about Carter will not only affect their personal lives, but also the broader relationships between the Logan, Spencer, and Forrester families. Sheila's waning patience and growing resentment may push her toward drastic decisions that could reshape the family dynamic entirely. Deacon's unwavering loyalty to Hope might alienate Sheila irreparably, or perhaps lead him to realize that his protective instincts must be balanced with respect for Hope's autonomy. As the saga continues, viewers are left eagerly anticipating the outcome of these intertwined relationships, fully aware that each character's choices will significantly alter their future. Hope's decision regarding Carter, Deacon's handling of Sheila, and Sheila's next strategic move all promise explosive drama and emotional intensity that will shape the trajectory of the bold and the beautiful for months to come.